It was just after 8:45 p.m. on a Thursday evening in Manhattan when Charles Wayland, billionaire, real estate tycoon, and one of America's most powerful men collapsed on the marble floor of his penthouse suite. No warning, no time. One moment he was sipping aged scotch, gazing over the city skyline like he always did after sealing another nine-figure deal. And the next his body crumpled. The glass hit the floor first, shattering like ice. Then came silence. The kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. Even on the 87th floor, his private security stormed in seconds later. His lead bodyguard checked for a pulse. He had one, but it was faint. The on-site nurse activated the emergency response system. Within minutes, 2 helicopters were rerouted mid-air, one from Mount Sinai, the other from a private medical firm based in Zurich. The Wayland protocol had been triggered. Charles wasn't just a man, he was an empire. His hands touched nearly every skyscraper in the city, every luxury hotel, every exclusive golf course from New York to Dubai. 20 doctors from 5 different countries were summoned in under 24 hours. Neurosurgeons, cardiologists, toxin specialists, and 2 AI-powered diagnostic robots that could analyze 60,000 medical conditions in under 4 minutes. All of them converged on a single, sterile, high-security space, his penthouse, now converted into a makeshift ICU. They tested everything: blood, brain scans, heart imaging, immune system analysis. They ran simulations, did stress tests on his organs, consulted data from NASA's medical AI division. Every result came back the same: no trauma, no stroke, no aneurysm, no detectable poison. And yet, he wasn't waking up. His vitals remained erratic. His breathing was shallow. And the longer he remained unconscious, the more baffled the experts became. Tension filled the air like fog. Everyone walked on eggshells. Some feared losing their jobs. Others feared losing their reputations. A few feared the unthinkable. What would happen if Charles Wayland died without naming his successor? His family arrived. Of course, his daughter, Ashley, icy and calculated. His son Parker, always trying to outmaneuver board members. They didn't cry. They didn't speak much. They stood in polished shoes at the edge of the room, watching machines breathe for the man who had once ruled their world, but there was someone else in the room. Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. Not in a meaningful way. Not in the eyes of the others. Her name was Marisol. She wore no name tag, no lab coat, no suit. Just plain white sneakers and a mop in her hand. She was the cleaning lady. The maid, the one who came in early to change the linens and stayed late to clean up the chaos left behind by surgeons and specialists. She didn't speak unless spoken to. She was invisible in the eyes of the powerful. But she watched closely. She noticed things that no one else did. Tiny details, slight patterns. She noticed how Charles's breathing faltered, not at random but always at 7:15 p.m. every evening. She noticed how his lips grew slightly blue right after the humidifier kicked in. And then there was that strange scent, something faint, herbal, almost metallic, that lingered in the air near his study. A smell she couldn't place. One that hadn't been there before. She remembered something from years ago. Her uncle, in a village in the mountains of Oaxaca, had once fallen ill. Same symptoms, same strange scent in the house. The doctors in the city didn't find anything, but an old woman in the village did. It was an herbal toxin, slow-releasing, found in incense burned by spiritualists, legal in some countries, deadly in others. Her uncle had survived, but barely. At first, Marisol kept quiet. Who would listen to her? A woman without a medical degree? A maid? But on the 5th night, as Charles's condition worsened, as his pulse dropped again without explanation and the team prepared to put him into a deeper coma for organ preservation, Marisol's hands trembled, her heart raced. Something in her couldn't stay silent. She stepped forward, her voice small but steady. I think I know what's happening. Silence. Heads turned. One young doctor smirked. Another whispered, Who is she? Asterisk. Dr. Balin, the oldest physician in the room, raised a brow. He had trained in India, worked in London, and treated royalty. He had seen pride kill people. He motioned to her gently. Go on. Asterisk. Marisol took a deep breath. She spoke slowly, carefully. She told them about the incense stick she found tucked behind a statue in the study, nearly burned out. She told them how the scent wasn't part of the usual cleaning chemicals, how her skin had begun to itch slightly every time she changed his bedsheets, how her cousin had experienced something similar after exposure to a rare incense blend used in underground wellness circles. Asterisk. Everyone froze. Some looked at her like she was crazy, but Dr. Balin stood up. He walked over to the statue, picked up the remains of the incense, and his face changed. Asterisk. He recognized it. It was an unregulated herbal compound banned in parts of Asia and the U.S. for containing neurotoxins in concentrated forms. Marketed online as a spiritual clarity enhancer, untraceable by standard medical diagnostics. Deadly in enclosed environments over time. Asterisk. Tests were ordered immediately. New scans, air filters, toxicology reports, this time searching for those exact compounds, and within hours confirmation. Traces of a rare neurotoxin had embedded into the ventilation system. It had slowly been released into the room night after night, worsening Charles's condition every hour. Asterisk. It wasn't his heart. It wasn't his brain. It was the air around him. The answer was in the environment, not in the blood. Asterisk. Treatment began instantly. Air systems were flushed. 4 detox protocols were implemented. The incense residue was destroyed. Specialized chelators were flown in from Europe. And then, after 6 days in a coma, Charles Wayland opened his eyes. It wasn't dramatic. He didn't leap from the bed or speak right away. He blinked. He groaned. And then he looked at the faces around him. The first word he whispered wasn't a name. It was a question. What happened? Asterisk. As doctors explained, as charts were shown, as applause and relief swept through the team like a wave, there was one face missing from the spotlight. Marisol. She had returned to her corner, folding towels. The maid who had saved a billionaire wasn't standing in front of the cameras. She wasn't offered credit in the medical journal write-ups. Her name wasn't included in the press release, but Charles Wayland didn't forget. 2 days later, he asked for her by name. Asterisk. They brought her to his bedside. She was nervous. He reached out, trembling, and took her hand. Asterisk. Thank you, he said. You saved me when no one else could. Asterisk. She nodded, eyes welling with tears. But before she could turn away, he spoke again. Asterisk. I want you on my team, not as a cleaner, as someone who watches what others miss. I want you protecting this house. My family, my everything. Asterisk. She refused twice. It felt like a dream. But he insisted. Asterisk. Within a week, Marisol signed a new contract. Environmental safety consultant. Full medical training, paid for. $280,000 per year. Stock options, full benefits. A new home in the suburbs. Her children enrolled in private school. Asterisk. And Charles? He changed too. Asterisk. He liquidated millions into a foundation that trains domestic workers to identify environmental hazards. He began supporting immigrant advocacy groups. And every year on the anniversary of his recovery, he sends one message to Marisol's inbox. Asterisk. You reminded me to listen before I assume, to see before I speak. Thank you, always. Asterisk. And somewhere in a quiet kitchen, Marisol reads it, closes her laptop, ties her shoes, and goes back to work. Asterisk. Because real power doesn't always come with degrees or titles. Sometimes it wears plain shoes, sometimes it carries a mop. And sometimes it's the quiet voice in the corner that holds the truth no one else can see. Asterisk. That night, Charles Wayland didn't just survive a medical mystery. He woke up to a deeper truth, one that had nothing to do with science or money. Asterisk. He learned that when we stop listening to the people we think are beneath us, we risk everything. Asterisk. And when we finally do listen, sometimes we're saved by the person we never expected, the one we almost didn't hear.